Hey, good afternoon. It's Tuesday, March 19th, and welcome back to Everyday Talks 24/7. Again, so excited. Tonight at 11 o'clock, I'm going to go live so we can just celebrate the coming of the spring equinox, God being faithful to his promise to us. So I just always love the seasons, but excited when it can work out that I can be with you. So 11 o'clock tonight, we're going to go live, Eastern Time, United States. I want to look at Psalm 4 today. I've looked at it before in conjunction with Ephesians 4, where Paul says, be angry and don't sin. But I want to look at Psalm 4 to get the full context of it. And I've entitled the video, Anger That Brings Peace. That's probably not our usual experience with anger. Usually our anger brings anything but peace. But if we pursue anger in the way that God wants us to, if our anger is truly righteous anger, then we can know peace. We can know anger that actually brings peace. So let's look at the psalm. I'm going to use Dale Ralph Davis's translation just because I think it's very helpful for us. It's in his first book of the Psalms, Psalms 1 through 12. This is Psalm 4. It begins with saying David he's being treated unfairly. That's the reason for his anger. So he says, answer me when I call, O God of my righteousness. He has his confidence in God. God has put him in tight places. And yet he knows God to show him grace and hear his prayer. And then he calls out to those people that are being unkind to him. Sons of men, how long will my glory become mockery? How long will you love emptiness? How long will you seek lies? In other words, bad things are being said about David. So he calls them out. How long will you keep doing this? But then in verse 3, he has this confidence. But know that Yahweh has set apart the covenant one for himself, meaning David. Yahweh will hear when I call to him. So even when he's being treated unfairly, he entrusts himself to God, which is what Peter tells us in 1 Peter 2, where Jesus entrusts himself to the one who judges justly. So David is doing that here. He's calling out to God. Instead of losing it and saying, this is terrible, how is all this happening to me? These people, they're so wrong. He knows that, but then he says, God will hear me. But then here's the key to anger that does not lead to upset, but anger that brings peace. Verse 4, be angry, but do not sin. This is what Paul quotes. Be angry, but do not sin. Speak in your hearts upon your beds and keep quiet. Be angry and do not sin. Speak in your hearts upon your beds and be quiet. Keep quiet. What David is saying here is don't be overcome with anger. If something is angering you, if it's truly righteous anger, keep your mouth shut. Get before God and talk to him about it. Find out ask God to help you to remember what is the way that's going to bring honor to God in this thing. What is going to please God? And so in verse 5, we see that. He's saying sacrifice the right sacrifices and trust yourselves to God. In other words, develop a plan of action that is consistent with what it means to know and honor God, to return good for evil, or whatever is the right plan, to call out abuse, to stand up, to be silent, whatever it is. But before we start getting all fired up and upset, remain quiet before God and develop a plan that's going to bring honor to God. And then he reminds us of these people that are being unfair to him, verses 6 and 7. Many keep saying, who will show us good? And David has compassion for them. He invokes a kindly benediction to them. Lift up upon us the light of your face, O Yahweh. Lord, you rescue them and me from this mess. And then he says, you have placed more gladness in my heart than when their grain and new wine overflows. In other words, when they've hit the jackpot with their harvest and they're happy, David says, I have far more happiness than that because of God's faithfulness. And then verse 8, This is how he ends the psalm. In peace I will both lie down and go off to sleep. For you alone, Yahweh, will make me dwell in safety. Make me dwell securely. Not getting things right with these people who are attacking him. Not seeing bad things happen to them. Not being proved right. But having done the right thing, he lies down and goes off to sleep. Very similar to the message of Psalm 3, where David is able to go to sleep even though his enemies are attacking him. Right now he's saying, because I did not let my anger control me, but I let my anger lead me to God. I went to God with the stress at the moment. I sought what his word would tell me to do, and I had a plan of action which is bringing honor to God and not necessarily taking vengeance on people, because vengeance is God's business. So verse 4, be angry but do not sin. Speak in your hearts upon your bed and keep quiet. And then when you've done that, when you've sought God out in his word, then you take action. And then once you've done that, you can be at peace, whether people are settled or not. David even has compassion for these people who are trying to give him a hard time. Lift up upon us the light of your face. He calls them to seek God just like he is. But when he's done that, he has peace. In peace I will both lie down and go off to sleep. For you alone, Yahweh, will make me dwell securely. See, when we're angry, we usually don't have a good night's sleep. David is having a good night's sleep here because he's entrusted himself to God. And he knows God will be faithful. And that's his hope. Anger that leads to peace. You see the lion in the thumbnail. The lion is secure. He's not stressed out because he knows he has the power within him to do what he needs to be doing. You and I have that same power. You and I have that same hope. What a blessing this psalm is. It's been a real comfort to me to take a look at it again. We can see why Paul drew comfort from it when he talked to the Ephesians. Your anger can and should lead you to peace. Because Yahweh, our God, is the only place we're secure. And that's the thought for this night. Again, looking forward to seeing you later on tonight when we go live at 11 p.m. Eastern. And thanks so much for being here. You have a great, great evening. Good night. Thank you for watching. May God richly bless you as you seek to live for his glory.